Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's pick a card reading, we are asking Spirit, what do you need to heal? So for today's reading, we have 4 groups for you guys to choose from, and we're going to be getting into a lot of detail. So we're going to look at what exactly it is that is part of your shadow work that you have to work on to heal yourself. And then we're going to see in which areas of your life this is impacting you. Then we'll look at how you can heal this, and then lastly we'll also see how your life would change if you were to heal this aspect of yourself. Okay, so group number 1 has this piece of rose quartz. Group number 2 has this selenite wand. Group number 3 has this piece of black obsidian. And then lastly, group number 4 has this cube. It's a pyrite cube. Okay, so as I always say, you can pause the video here if you want to meditate on which group you feel most drawn to. Maybe you feel drawn to more than one group, and then let's jump into your reading and see what part of yourself do you need to heal and how will this impact your life. Hello and welcome everyone who picked group number 1, and today we are asking Spirit, what do you need to heal? So as I mentioned in the intro, we are getting into a lot of detail. We're first going to look at what exactly it is that you need to heal. Then we'll look at how this is impacting your life at the moment. Then we'll see how you can heal this aspect of yourself. And then lastly, we'll also look at how this will positively impact your life if you were to heal this part of yourself. Okay, so to begin, you guys chose this piece of rose quartz. Now, rose quartz talks about love in all different facets, so it's often about self-love first, so that you can cultivate that feeling within yourself before showing love to others around you. But we'll see how this ties in with your reading. I'm just going to put it aside for now. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of cards prepared here and I haven't looked at any of them, so I'll see what it says along with you guys. So let's begin here. First we have an archetype card to present the part of yourself that you need to heal. So let's see what it is. Okay, we have God. With the light attributes it says benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. And the shadow attributes are despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. Okay, so let's just put this here. Then you also have an oracle card to represent this part of yourself that you need to work on. And for this, you guys got pleasure. Interesting. Okay, I'm first going to lay out some of your cards before I do the interpreting. So let's look at which part of your life is being impacted by this shadow attribute. Sorry if you guys hear some noise, we have a thunderstorm today, so that's just what you are hearing. Okay, we have the 4 of Autumn. This is the 4 of Pentacles. It says manage your resources wisely, achieve a balance in how you spend and save money, help out those who are less fortunate. Okay, now we also have the Ace of Winter. This is the Ace of Swords. It says don't be deterred by challenges along the way. It's important to communicate clearly and accurately, amazing new ideas that should be implemented. So the Ace of Swords really talks about clarity. So it could be that some of you guys are already aware of this part of yourself, or you will be becoming aware of it. We also have the Ace of Spring. This is the Ace of Wands, and it says it's time to take action. Be fearless and happily pursue your most treasured dreams. Amazing career opportunities. Okay, I'm actually going to spread this out for now. And then lastly, you also have the Princess of Spring. It says optimistic, enthusiastic, creative, energetic. It's time to go after your dreams. Do something that expands your horizons. Let your creativity take flight. Okay. So this is the Page of Wands, by the way. Okay, so group number 1, what I'm seeing here is that when we look at like the God archetype card, for example, now this could actually talk about some type of religion that you are part of. Maybe it's a very strict religion, but really what I'm seeing here with this card is the idea of control. Now, especially with the 4 of Autumn or the 4 of Pentacles as well, it can almost talk about holding on to your resources a lot. So and God also links with the idea of like reigning over people or things. So it's like you guys are almost, I don't want to say being stingy, but it's like you are holding on to everything that you have in your life, especially in terms of the material sense, and therefore you are not actually living a life that you enjoy. When I look at this pleasure card, it's almost like a gateway on here, and we have this meadow here, and obviously it's all about enjoying life and enjoying everything that life has to offer you. So what I'm really seeing here is that you guys aren't actually pursuing things that give you joy and things that you love with this rose quartz. So it could be that you are staying in a position that is maybe giving you a sense of control. So let's use an example here. You are working a corporate job, so it's providing you with stability. Maybe you have a stable income. You can always count on the fact that you will be getting a salary at the end of the month, but really it's not something that brings you any joy in life. So you are almost like the creator of your reality, and what Spirit is saying here is that if you are unhappy in this situation, it's really in your control to be changing this. So part of your shadow that you need to heal is realizing that you have the power within yourself to create a different reality. But as I said here with the rose quartz, talking about love, you know, it starts with self-love, and then you can extend this love to others. So really what I'm seeing with this is that saying about as within, so without. So if there is some area in your life that you feel is not benefiting you or is not bringing you pleasure or joy, Spirit is saying that you guys have to realize that you are creating this for yourself in a way. It's like you don't realize how much power you hold in changing the situation, especially when we look at both of these aces here. Now, aces talks about new beginnings or fresh energy, like a fresh start, and linking in with this gateway. It's almost like you guys have to realize that you can step through this gateway by yourself. So the Ace of Wands can often talk about creative pursuits, and we do have a lot of butterflies on here as well, which links in with that idea of transformation. So I definitely sense that for a lot of you, you are in a situation where you feel a sense of control. Now this can be, like I mentioned, in terms of your career, but it can also talk about relationships, or maybe like this religious factor here. And you have to step into a new phase in your life, a phase where you can maybe let your creativity shine, or maybe if this is in terms of religion, maybe you can start some more spiritual practices, find a community that you can relate to in terms of that. And you know, with the Princess of Spring or the Pages, it's about messages. And with this Ace of Winter as well, I talked about the idea of clarity. So I think what Spirit is also saying to you guys is that you have to be having conversations with people that maybe have a different viewpoint, and that can guide you on this journey and provide you with the information that you need to make this shift. So for example, this idea of creating your reality and having control over your reality. A lot of people also talk about being the god of your own life. Now obviously if you're very religious, you might not like that type of terminology. You can use different words, but with the Pages and the communication, it's like you should be delving deeper into how you can maybe manifest the life that you want. So it's really about taking control of your thoughts as well. You know, the swords talk about communication as well, and like ideas and things. So I think a lot of this has to do with the way you think about life, and that's your shadow. So you have to change your mindset here, and Spirit is really saying like you have total control. It's just that you have to realize that. So it could be maybe things like negative self-talk as well. So For example, you could be receiving a lot of opportunities in your life, but due to the fact that you don't recognize yourself as someone that is capable for these opportunities, you let them pass you by, and then you maybe like to blame the circumstances for not having a life that is enjoyable. But in reality, you were almost manifesting a negative outcome because you didn't look at yourself in a way where you felt you were right for that opportunity or worthy of that opportunity. Now, as I said here, this can talk about different facets of your life. Relationships. So maybe you are even in a relationship where it feels like you are being controlled, especially when I think about strict religion again. So, or a community where you feel you are being micromanaged by the people around you, and you're not seeing that you have the power to create a fresh start in a different community or in a different relationship. Especially here with the page of spring, the princess of spring, it says it's time to go after your dreams. So definitely for a lot of you guys, this is also talking about holding yourself back in terms of your pursuits. So I think you could have even grown up in a community where there were certain ideas that were upheld. So this type of career is the right career, or this type of person is the suitable life partner, or this type of house is the one you should live in. Whichever way this relates to your situation, it's like you have this set of rules for yourself and you don't want to step out of that comfort zone. And I also get a sense of fear here, almost, of change. Like I mentioned with the Four of Autumn, it's about holding on to what you have. So it's like you guys are so afraid of losing maybe the bit of joy that you do have, that you don't realize how much you're holding back yourself from having a life with a lot more pleasure and a lot more like good things that happen to you. A lot of magic, actually, that's what's coming through. I think you can experience a lot more magic in your life. And I also just got a message that maybe some of you guys should be looking into the idea of angels. So maybe some of you would like to contact like your angels and ask them for advice. I do think for some of you guys that this could also talk about like a family figure that had a big influence on you and on how you view yourself, because with the God archetype I definitely get like a parental figure. So maybe someone that instilled a lot of fear in you, especially in terms of going after what you actually want. So maybe they imprinted some ideas on you in terms of, like I said, the right type of career or the right type of relationship. Now I do also think in terms of the religious aspect, maybe some of you grew up in almost like a cultish community, and they maybe had very strict rules in terms of what you can wear or how you may express yourself. So it's really time for you guys to take control in the situation and realize that you have to be the one to remove yourself from this. So this is how this is impacting your life at the moment and where it's impacting you. So really in different facets, but it's all about not living a life that you enjoy, whether this is career or relationships or whatever. You will know how this resonates, but definitely Spirit is saying that you guys are holding yourselves back. So let's see now how you can heal this aspect of yourself. Okay, so for that we have 4 tarot cards here, and this is from the Harmony Niece Tarot. So you guys got the 10 of Autumn. This is the 10 of Swords. We have the 9 of Autumn, the 9 of Swords. We have La Lune, this is the Moon. And we also have the 2 of Spring, this is a 2 of Wands. Okay. Now I'm going to start with the Moon here. Now this talks about the unconscious and like your intuition and things. And I definitely get a strong sense that you guys have been suppressing a big part of yourself and a big part of like your creative self as well and your true self. So Spirit is saying that you have to do a lot of shadow work in terms of what it is that you desire from life. So maybe go back to your childhood and look at what brought you joy, like what type of hobbies did you have. Maybe some of you like to write stories, or you drew like clothing on mannequins, or you like to build things with your hands. So anything like that. I think go back in time before this influence that other people had on you was so prominent, and look at what exactly did you do, what brought you joy in those moments where you weren't being reined in by other external factors. Now, with the swords here, again, as I said here with communication, I think it's really about your thoughts here, that you have to be very aware of what you are thinking in a situation. So, if you are telling yourself the story that you cannot change your reality, that is what you are going to be manifesting. So, when someone tells you, when someone tells you something, don't just take that information and make it your own. Really look at what they are saying and have clarity, and realize that often people don't have the whole picture. So you can create your own framework of looking at life. You don't have to listen only to other people and let them have control over your life and how you live your life. So with the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, this is really about healing. You know, the nines talk about healing, and with the 10, it's closing off this cycle. So each time something happens that triggers you, you should be taking a moment to look at the situation and realize why this is triggering you. So for example, if someone is telling you about how they are starting this new project and they are so overjoyed because they are doing this thing they've always dreamed of doing, and you feel maybe a sense of jealousy, then look at that and see how you aren't actually jealous of that person because they have this great project. You are jealous because you are holding yourself back and you are not living your own dream life, and you are not living your fullest potential because you have told yourself all of these lies about what you can do in life, and you have created this boundary for yourself and you don't want to step out of that boundary. But you have to see that this is self-inflicted, and this is something that was imprinted on you by other people in your life, and you have to break through from that. And it could be very deep in your unconscious. You might not be aware of this tendency that you have. So Spirit is really saying delve deep and really do your shadow work and ask yourself a lot of questions to see who you truly are, because I think a lot of you could be suffering from a lack of like self-identity. So once you do this, you will see how you start to express yourself more authentically. So maybe the way that you dress will change, maybe your routine will change, your hobbies will change, your friend group will change, your career might change. You might find yourself ending off a lot of relationships here, and I think your conversations will change as well with all of the swords. So if you're hanging out with a lot of people that are negative and that maybe gossip a lot, you will be able to see by doing this shadow work how that is negatively impacting your life, and you will remove those people and see how suddenly your life starts to flourish. Now we also have the Two of Wands here, and it's interesting, we have a key on here with like a little eye. So I think about intuition as well. So I do think you guys are also suppressing your intuition. You're not listening to what your soul is really trying to tell you and what Spirit is trying to tell you. And once you start to do that and unlocking this unconscious information that you already have to your advantage, you will see how your life grows in new directions, because the Two of Wands talks about expansion and it's a planning for the future. So really Spirit is saying, if you want to make a change, you have to realize that you are a manifester of your life, and you have to realize that you hold the key to the pleasure that you want to experience in life. And we talked about this gateway here. So, and there's also like a crescent moon on here, like this Laloon card. So definitely you guys are suppressing all of the information that you already have, and you are not using that to your advantage. So I want to look at how your life will change once you heal this part of yourself, and once you start to become a very conscious manifester of your life and realizing that you're worthy of this pleasurable life. So let's see So for that, you guys got 2 oracle cards. So we're gonna look at how your life will change once you start to look at your life differently and look at how you're manifesting your life. So you guys got the card Purification, and you also got the card Love. Okay, so that really links in with this Rose quartz here. So as I said, you guys could be cutting off a lot of people that is negatively influencing your life. Now this can talk about like this religious community, it can talk about a family community, it can talk about a friend group, or even like your co-workers. So any type of relationship that is feeding this negative self-talk and thoughts that you have at the moment, you guys will be cutting that off, and you will see that your life, once you heal this part of yourself, is really purified. It's like it can suddenly blossom. You know, when we look at the rain on here, and it's raining outside right now, like after a storm, everything feels fresh and new, and we had that energy with the aces as well. So it's almost like, you know, sunflowers, they also always turn their head towards the sun to see the light. And it's like you guys have to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You have to realize that you hold that power within yourself to create that light for yourself and to open yourself up to new energy and to new thoughts and new opportunities. And there's like a whole bunch of sunflowers on here. So I do think for a lot of you, you might have a smaller social circle once you make this change. But you will find that it's people that you can relate with that is surrounding you in this new phase. So it's also like that idea of planting seeds. I think of planting seeds in your unconscious. So maybe some of you guys want to try subliminal messages. That might be something that's useful for you, especially if this is like a long-standing thing, the negative way that you have been thinking, so negative thought patterns. I think a lot of you may also struggle with self-confidence, and that has a lot to do with manifestation as well. You know, it's not just about having this idea. You have to put intention into it, and really it's about the frequency that you have. So you have to change your energy, your vibe, your frequency, and only then will you start to see shifts in your life. So it doesn't help to say, oh, I want to have this, I want to be like that. You actually have to have intention behind that, and you have to embody that feeling. So once you start to do that, you will see how your whole life is purified and you have this fresh energy, and it's like you can suddenly blossom, especially with all of the flowers on a love card here as well. So with the love card, this could talk about actually having real relationships, as I said here with the purification as well, relationships that give you pleasure, that give you real love. And also I think this talks about love for yourself. So definitely I get a big sense also of a lack of self-confidence in your group. And I think that's where you can really start to work on this part of yourself. So realize that you also have control over how you view yourself. And once you realize that, you will see how you also have control over the different areas of your life. So now to end off, let's see how your life will change once you shift your energy and shift the way that you think about life. So you guys got the Temperance card, and I really think about balance here. This is Sagittarius energy. We have the Queen of Pentacles, we have the 10 of Cups with a rainbow. That might be a sign for you guys. And we also have the Page of Wands. Again, we did have the Page of Wands earlier. Okay, so with the 10 of Cups, this could talk about like having a significant relationship with someone in your life. So maybe some of you have been struggling with finding a partner as well. And I do think this could be due to holding yourself back or not having the confidence to step into a real loving relationship. Also with the Temperance card here, I definitely think you guys have been stalling. As I said with the Moon card, it's like this way that you have of looking at life is buried so deep in your unconscious. You're really not even aware of it, and you're not aware of how you have been as extending this period where you haven't been feeling real joy. But with the Temperance, I do think once you make this change, you're going to see that your life is a lot more balanced. This can even talk about maybe having a bigger spiritual practice in your life, maybe doing stuff like yoga, or having a meditation schedule, or praying a lot, anything like that. But it's really about finding something that works for you and not letting other people and their opinions control you. So this is what Spirit is really saying in your group, is that you have to create your own life based on your own rules and not set by rules from the people around you. Now with the Queen of Pentacles, this is really like someone that is, it's like a go-getter, especially in the material world. So I think you will also see how your material world flourishes, and we do have like different generations on here as well. So I think this is something that you will be able to give to your future generations if you are planning on having a family. So if you heal this aspect, you'll be able to carry over that positive energy to your children one day, and even to the people in your community. You could have a great influence. It's like that ripple effect, you know. Now with the Ten of Cups, I did say here it can talk about a relationship, but I also think, just like with these cards, having a soul family, having people that you can really connect with. And I think about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So you will like strike gold. It's like your thoughts will attract people with a similar mindset once you change them. Now with the Page of Wands, again, that idea of starting creative projects is coming through quite strongly. So I do think for a lot of you guys, there's some type of creative pursuit that you have been putting off, and that is really weighing heavily on you. So Spirit is giving you a little nudge here to pursue that part of yourself as well. There's a book, The Artist Way, by I can't remember her name, someone Cameron, Julia or something. You guys might want to check that out. I really enjoyed reading that book, especially if some of you guys are really artists stuck in like a corporate job or something like that. It gives you a new perspective on creativity and like how the universe almost flows through you to create creative projects and like writing and stuff. So maybe some of you guys would be interested in reading that. It's just like a side note. Sorry guys, I read a lot. Anyway, so with the Page of Wands, this girl has like a wand here, and it makes me think of a magic wand. So I definitely think Spirit is saying there will be a lot more magic in your life, especially in terms of maybe doing things that brings you joy. So we talked about the idea of hobbies and what brought you joy as a child. So it's almost like your inner child will be able to come out again in this new phase in your life if you were to heal this part of yourself. So you have to, I'm going to use an example. I saw this on Instagram. One, the school was talking about how she wanted to have a work schedule where she could take enough time off to rest, but then she realized she was overworking herself all of the time while still wishing for that type of life where she didn't have to work like 24/7. So what she realized was that she was creating this overworked lifestyle by not actually incorporating breaks in her daily routine. So she was feeding that idea of having to work all of the time. So once again, if you want to have a life with more magic, more creativity, more exploration, I don't know what, some type of adventure in your life, then that is something that you have to actively pursue, because what you are doing at this moment is what you are telling the universe you want to have in your future. So really start to create spaces in your life where you can incorporate parts of yourself that you want to be. So we mentioned here maybe dressing in the way that you would like, or starting to find people that you can relate with, people that you want to be like. So I really hope this made sense for you guys. I hope it resonated. And if it did, you can let me know in the comments down below. And then I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video soon. Bye. Hello and welcome everyone who picked group number 2. So you guys chose the selenite one here, and this talks about like cleansing your energy. I know a lot of people like use it like in front of their body, like to cleanse the whole aura. So we'll see how this ties into your reading. And today we are asking Spirit, what do you need to heal? So I haven't looked at any of your cards. I have a whole bunch prepared here. And as I mentioned in the intro, today we are looking at what do you need to heal? What parts of your life is being impacted by this shadow attribute that you have? Then we'll look at how you'll heal this, and then also what positive changes will happen in your life once you do that. Okay, so we're gonna explore this together now. First off, you guys have an archetype card, so let's see, what do you need to heal? We have Prince. Okay, with the light attribute it says romantic charm and potential for power, and the shadow attribute is using power for self-aggrandizement. Okay. So you also have an oracle card to represent the part of yourself that you need to heal. For that you guys got Voyage. Interesting. Okay. So let's see now what parts of your life is being impacted by this shadow attribute. So we have the Three of Summer. This is the Three of Cups. News with celebrating announcements such as weddings, graduations or births. Friends you cherish. Okay. We also have the Magician, card number one. One might be a sign for you. You can do anything. Take charge of your life. You can manifest what you need to be a success. Okay, then we also have the Justice card, card number 8. And it says, take the time to review the details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. And I get Libra energy with this. So that might be significant for some of you guys. And then we also have the Ace of Summer. Open your heart to love. The beginning of a new intimate relationship or the rebirth of a current one. The awakening of psychic abilities or spiritual epiphanies. Okay. Just gonna scooch this down here. Okay, so group number 2. I'm gonna start here with the Voyage card. You know, I immediately thought of the story in the Bible of Jonah and the whale, and he was in there for like 3 days, and he prayed a lot, and he asked God to help him and to get him out there, obviously, and so God answered his prayer. So I think you guys have been on a long journey and you have felt very alone. This card also talks about having to realize that you aren't actually ever alone. Spirit and your guides and everyone is always with you. But to you guys, it felt like you were on this long voyage, you know, on the open sea. No one inside, no islands inside, no land inside, nothing. Just you on your own. Especially in terms of relationships, and I'm specifically picking up on romantic relationships, but it could be different types of relationships as well, like any significant close relationship. Now with the whales on here, I also think about you know, mating calls. You know, a whale has a very distinct call that they make, and only certain types of, well, they only have to get like the same call back from a different whale to communicate. And there was the story once about a whale on the internet who called out, and they swam for miles and miles, and no whale answered them. So it's really like you guys were calling for someone, or for like a soulmate or a soul family, and you haven't been getting an answer back. And with the Prince archetype card here, it could be that you were in relationships where initially the person gave you a lot of attention, and then suddenly they pulled back. So you haven't experienced like that deep type of bond with someone, or like authentic relationships with friends even, especially with the Three of Cups here. And so you've been feeling left out. And now with the Voyage card, this is just like a little side note from Spirit to say that, you know, you weren't actually ever alone on this journey. Your guides and everyone was always there with you, and they were seeing everything that you had in your life going on, you know, the bad experiences. And with the selenite wand, as I mentioned here, it's about cleansing your aura, or like your energy field. So I do think maybe due to this past that you have with relationship, you have maybe built up like a wall or a certain type of energy around you that makes you push away any type of real relationship that could be coming your way. So you might be holding on to the idea that you'll be forever alone or forever in relationships where it's only surface level. I think about like the deep sea as well. It's like you haven't delved into that type of deep relationship with someone, or you felt like there wasn't someone that could reciprocate the same depth of emotion that you had to offer. So it could even be that you may have had a lot of offers in your life, but none of them felt substantial. None of them felt like something worthwhile. So you have some type of pattern in relationships that you guys have to heal here. Now with the Justice card, this is all about balance as well. It could talk about karma. So some of you might have had past lives where you didn't learn a type of lesson in relationships. So in this life you had to learn those lessons, and that's why you had to go through these experiences. Now with Justice, I also think of the Six of Pentacles, that idea of equal give and take. So maybe for a lot of you guys, what you had to learn was that, or what you have to learn right now, is that you have a tendency to overextend yourself in relationships. You know, people always talk about someone who is too desperate. So maybe you are very quick to become infatuated with someone, or to want to form a strong attachment. And this has caused you to have quite a lot of blunders in terms of relationships. So maybe you always look at situations with rose-colored glasses. I think of in astrology, maybe some of you guys have like Neptune in the 7th house or something like that, or just like a lot of 7th house placements. Because I definitely get the sense that relationships are very important to you guys, but somehow you haven't felt like you have had any or enough relationships that were worth your time and worth the effort that you put in. Now with the Three of Summer or the Three of Cups, this often talks about celebrating, as the card states, but it's also about friend groups, so celebrating with friends. And I also think of like being able to celebrate each other. So it could be that you were in friendship situations where you were always there for the other people. So if they were to call you late at night, you would always pick up your phone, you would drive out to help them if they had a problem. Or if you're someone that's still in school, they would want to have their homework answers, or they would want help on a task that they had to complete, and you would always be there to help them. But they didn't necessarily reciprocate that energy for you. So maybe some of you guys grew up with like an emotionally unavailable parent, and so you learned that being of service is a way to be worthy of love or to have relationships. So I definitely get the sense that you have been overextending yourself in relationships. So you've almost been creating unbalanced relationships in your life by giving too much of yourself, especially initially in a relationship. So you like set the tone in terms of how much you are willing to give, and the people at the receiving end, they see this and they like to benefit off of that, off of your kindness or your charity or whatever it is. And with the selenite here, I definitely think that that is part of yourself that you have to remove. So that is like an energy that you have, or a quality that you possess, that you have to become aware of. So if you find yourself in situations, especially when you are meeting new people, and you see how you are immediately committing yourself to maybe helping them with things, or giving them big gifts on their birthday, or celebrating them in like big ways, but you don't find that they are reciprocating that, then immediately you should stop that, and you should be a lot more cautious in who you extend your love to. So you might find yourself in like narcissistic types of relationships, or I mean like narcissistic partners, or friends that are like energy vampires. So I definitely get the sense that you guys have a lot of love to give, but you don't always know where to draw the line, and where you are overstepping your own boundaries. Actually, I don't think you guys have very strong boundaries, and Spirit is saying almost like you have to put a bit of a protective shield around you when I think about the selenite again. So not like in a extreme way, so don't build like this big wall around you, because it's interesting. I feel like you guys might be a bit paradoxical. So for some people, it might feel like you're very hard to get to know and you don't open your heart to a lot of people. But then in other situations, you almost open yourself up too quickly. So maybe you almost swivel between these two extremes. And sometimes you let your guard down too quickly, and then something happens and you close up again like a clam. And then other times you find yourself staying closed from the get-go because you're afraid of having the same situation where you opened up too quickly. Now, when I look at the Justice again, I think Spirit is really saying that you have to strike a balance between these two extremes. And with the Magician, I talked about this in group number 1 as well, but it's about controlling your thoughts and realizing that you're manifesting your life. So definitely you guys are very powerful, and I said here you have a lot of love to give. But people in your surroundings might be able to see that, and you have to realize that you are overextending yourself and giving a lot of people in your community or in your surroundings a lot of your energy, and you are helping them, but it's not benefiting you. Now, with the Ace of Summer, or the Ace of Cups, it says open your heart to love, the beginning of a new intimate relationship, or the rebirth of a current one, the awakening of psychic abilities or spiritual epiphanies. So with this Magician as well, I really think you guys could be very psychic. You could even be like very empathetic, and that's why you want to form bonds with people. But you don't realize how much of your energy you are giving away, and that's why you feel alone, because they don't give you the same amount of love. Now, I think Spirit is also saying you shouldn't be losing hope that you will be in the right type of relationships, whether that is romantic or like friendship relationships. You just have to realize how you are creating imbalanced relationships by your actions. So like I said, if you are realizing that you're overstepping your own boundaries, or overgiving, or maybe even overspending, anything like that, then you should immediately pull back. And actually, from the start of getting to know people, don't give too much of yourself away. Rather let it happen organically and let the relationship flow on itself, instead of almost pouring out your heart and then being angry with yourself later on, because it's like you put all of your cards out on the table and they didn't even show you any of theirs. So I think you will find that you will be in a lot more balanced relationships once you start to do this, and once you start to hold back just a little bit to see whether or not someone is actually worthy of your attention and your love. So let's see now what you can do to heal this. We've already actually talked about this, but I want to get some more information here. Okay, so let's see here for your tarot cards, and this is from the Harmony Nice Tarot. You guys got the Page of Summer. This is the Page of Wands. You got the Two of Spring. This is the Two of Cups. You have the Ace of Winter. This is the Ace of Pentacles, and you got the Sun card, Le Soleil. Okay. Just gonna spread this out actually. So it's nice in the middle. Okay, so what you guys need to focus on is your own happiness. That's like a very quick summary of what Spirit is saying. But so when we look at more detail here, the Ace of Pentacles, this is about fresh energy in terms of the material world. So I think about resources as well when I think about Pentacles. So it's really about becoming aware of where you are putting your resources. As I said, look at where you're giving your energy away. Now this could be in terms of acts of service, as I mentioned. It can be in terms of providing money for people. It can be giving them lavish gifts. It can be always being ready to help in any type of way. This can even talk about family relationships. You know, I only mentioned friendships and romantic relationships, but maybe you have like a parent that is constantly in need of your attention or affection or anything, and you don't receive the same amount of attention back. So really you should be becoming aware of where you are pouring your energy and money and time and everything into, and then seeing where it's imbalanced. Now with the Two of Spring here, this is the Two of Cups. This is soulmate energy. So find people who give you the same amount of love. It's really a simple message. That's what I'm saying. It's about focusing on your happiness. Find people, even if it's just like one or two people, that really bring you joy and where you feel like the sun, where you can shine your light. If you feel drained after an experience with a friend, then that should be like a warning sign for you guys, that that's not someone that is actually a soulmate for you. That's someone that is draining you. It could be that you have a karmic contract with that person. So really take note of how your energy levels is when you are socializing with people. If you go to visit your parents and you find that you're always exhausted afterwards, then inspect that situation. Look at what is it exactly. Pinpoint it. What is causing you to feel drained? Is it that you are constantly listening to their problems but they won't listen to you? Is it that they ask you for money and they don't ever provide you with help? And relating to friendships as well. Do you always have to be the one that listens to your friend? Do they only talk about themselves? Do they ever ask you about your life? And then on the other hand as well, if you find someone where you really feel happy and light and you feel energized after talking with them, that's how you know that this is a relationship that you can count on, and that is a type of relationship where you can invest your resources. So once you start shifting your focus and your energy on only focusing on relationships that bring you the same level of joy, then you will see how your life starts to change. And with the Page of Summer, the Page of Wands, that is about communication. So it's really about the people that you spend your time socializing with. That saying about you are the product of like the 5 closest people you spend your time with. So I think you guys should really be focusing on what elevates your mood, especially with the Sun card here. And this is Leo energy. I think about being on a stage, so center stage. Who gives you time in the limelight? Who lets you shine your light? So if I think about the friendships again, you might find that some people don't like it when you are in the spotlight, when you have focus on any type of focus on you. So if you find that everything should always be about the other person, then that is your sign that that is not a right friend, that is not the right relationship. And also in a romantic sense, if you guys find that you're constantly fulfilling the needs of the partner that you have, then that should be your warning sign. You aren't shining a light. If you feel like you have to dim your light, you have to make yourself smaller, then that is a person you have to remove from your life. Okay, so I'm just gonna adjust the light. It's getting a bit lighter in here. Okay, that's a bit better. Alright, I hope you guys could see in the previous part, but anyway, it makes me think of how we were talking about light here. So don't let anyone dim your light. You have the ability to shine on your own. You can show people your talents without having to feel like you're taking away from their spotlight. And I think you guys might be suppressing maybe a lot of your abilities, like your true self, especially since you're catering to the people's needs around you. I think of maybe not telling people about your achievements. We had that with the Three of Cups, that idea of news worth celebrating. So I really get a strong sense that you guys have been making yourself smaller to accommodate the people surrounding you. You might be surrounded by a lot of jealous people. As I said, narcissistic people that constantly want to be in the limelight and that only want others to give love to them but never want to give it away. And it's time for you guys to realize your own worth and to see your own light and be willing to have a bit more attention placed on you instead of giving attention to other people. So let's see now, how will your life actually change once you heal this aspect of yourself? So we have 2 oracle cards. We have change, obviously, and we also have patience. So let's see, I'm just gonna shift this up now. Okay, so we have change and patience. And with this, the bird on here, I always talk about this card as reminding me of the stork. So birthing a new phase in your life. And with change, this is like almost like at an amusement park. So I think about experiences where you enjoy yourself and where you feel lighthearted and free. And I also think about horses, like equestrian, those tournament type of things. The horses have to jump over these high what's that called? It's like a bar almost. So it's really like you were jumping over all of these obstacles for the different people. So that's what you have to change in your life, and that's where your life will also change once you heal this part of yourself. You will find that you are suddenly floating, like with this balloon. It's like your whole life is going to become lighter. It won't feel like such a struggle anymore. It's almost like you are being carried here instead of having to carry other people, and this person is floating in the clouds. It's almost like it's like a dream. So definitely a strong energy of stepping into a much more lighter in the terms of like sunlight phase in your life. And with the patience card, I do think you have to have patience with yourself as well. It could be quite difficult for you since you're used to embodying this certain type of role in relationships. I really get a sense of like a caregiver role, and linking with this idea of a stork and babies and stuff. So it's like you were constantly taking care of everyone else. So you might find that once you heal this part of yourself, some people might want to almost take care of you, and it might be uncomfortable for you. So you might have to change the way that you look at your relationships in terms of accepting the same type of love back. So even though it's something that you want, it might feel uncomfortable when people actually start to reciprocate. So you just have to be aware of that, and also have patience with yourself in adjusting to this new phase in your life. But with patience, I also think of just being like more calm as well. So maybe you were constantly feeling on edge or like irritated because you were giving your energy away. But now in this new phase, you're going to find that the curveballs that life throws your way, you can handle it much better because you're not frazzled all the time, and you have enough energy on your own to deal everything that is lying ahead. Any type of negative experience that you have to go through, you can face it head on, and you're very calm and level-headed. And you might even have people that really support you in these challenges as well. Maybe you have been constantly going at it alone. When we think about that voyage card again of feeling like you were drifting along here on the sea with no one in sight. Okay, so let's end here with 4 last tarot cards to give us a better idea of how your life will look like after healing this. you guys have the 8 of Swords. You have the 5 of Pentacles, the 3 of Wands, and lastly the 4 of Wands. Okay. This is very interesting. Okay, so this is really talking about how you are keeping yourself stuck here. It's like the star here. There's almost like Spirit is trying to guide you. And we see again this image of almost being in the spotlight here, with the star shining above this girl. So it's like you're surrounded by all of these people that, as you see here, they are like in the spotlight as well. So they want to steal your light. And you have to free yourself from this. And once you do, you will see how suddenly you might be receiving a lot more positive attention from people that you never expected to receive attention from. And I think a lot of people will be unmasked as being like fake or like friends or bad romantic partners or whatever. Once you start to shine a light. That's very interesting. We also, with the 5 of Pentacles, it's interesting, it's like a beggar on here. So that's the energy that you were in. It's like you begged for attention, but you still didn't get anything back. So I do think it's going to be exposed how these other people were feeding off of your energy. But what's really changing is that you won't be having to beg for attention anymore in the future. You will find that people will just be giving that to you. You won't be feeling so alone, because the 5 of Pentacles can often talk about the feeling of being left out in the cold, like desolate, that type of energy. Now with the 3 of Wands here, this is about growth and expansion, and I almost think of adventure. So I do think you're going to find that the people that will enter your life, these true relationships, are people that want to explore life with you. So you might learn a lot of new energy by being in these people's company, and you might also find that you are able to expand their life. So as I said here, if you are used to being in relationships where you are constantly the one listening, then you will find that these people will actually want to listen to you, and they would want your advice, they would want to hear your stories about life, they would want to go on adventures with you, go travel with you, they would really want to have like philosophical discussions with you, anything like that. So it's like a type of relationship where you're constantly learning from the other person and they are learning from you. And now with the 4 of Wands, this is a coming together of energy here. So you're really going to find that you have these relationships that enrich your life and that bring color to your life and magic to your life. I always think of like the Harry Potter series with with the 4 houses, and I think of teamwork, and it could even be that you collaborate with some of these people on creative projects. Maybe you start a band, or you go to an art class and you meet these people and you make pottery together, or you have a book club, or you go gardening or anything like that. But it's like your whole life will be enriched by changing the people you spend your time with, and they will also bring color to your life. And again, that idea of light, color is also just like light. So it's almost like they will channel your energy into something else. You won't have to pour your energy into your relationship so much. You will be able to use it for different ventures in your life, and these people will support you and they would give you some of their energy to help you along the way. Okay, so group number 2, I'm going to leave your reading there. It's pretty obvious what Spirit is saying here, but I hope it resonated with you guys, and if it did, you can let me know in the comments down below. Then I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video soon. Bye! Hello and welcome everyone who picked group number 3. So you guys chose this black obsidian stone, and it talks about protection. I like to carry it with me when I go to shopping malls because I get a bit frazzled by all of the people and their energy. So we'll see if this ties in with your reading today. Today we are asking Spirit, what do you need to heal? So as I mentioned in the intro, today we are looking at quite a lot of aspects. First, we're going to look at what it is that you need to heal. Then we'll look at what parts of your life is being affected by this shadow attribute that you have, or shadow work that you need to do. Then we'll look at how exactly you'll heal this or can heal this, and then also we'll look at the positive changes that you'll experience in your life once you heal this part of yourself. Okay, so we have a lot of ground to cover. Let's see here. So first off, you guys have an archetype card to represent what it is that you need to heal. And I haven't looked at any of your cards, so we'll explore it together. So I just saw 111 on the timer, so maybe that is a sign for you guys. And I think it talks about becoming aware that you're manifesting your thoughts. Anyway, maybe it has a special meaning for you guys. So you guys got the card Rebel. The light attributes are challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. And the shadow attributes are rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. Okay, interesting energy. And then for an oracle card that also represents your part that you need to heal, we have trust. Okay. I'm getting hyper independence here and I can associate with this. So I'm gonna first lay out all of your cards, but immediately I get the sense that you guys like to go at things on your own. And with this obsidian, it might be that you're afraid of trusting other people. You might sense danger with other people. Whether or not they are actually dangerous for you doesn't matter. Okay. Before I just start interpreting, let's see which parts of your life is being affected by this. Sorry, I'm just gonna adjust the light quickly. Okay, that's a bit better. It's a bit darker. Hopefully you can see now. All right. So we have the Queen of Autumn. This is the Queen of Pentacles. It says, generous, stylish, gracious, practical. Be practical with respect to how you proceed. The ability to make anything more beautiful. Meeting someone who can help your dreams come true. Okay. We also have the Queen of Winter. So the Queen of Swords. Strong, patient, self-sufficient, funny. Let go of people or things that no longer serve you. Now is the time to focus on your career, unmarried or divorced individuals. Okay. We also have the Nine of Winter, the Nine of Swords. And it says, unfounded fear, focusing on worst case scenarios, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. Definitely. And we also have the Nine of Autumn. Interesting. Reward yourself for all your hard work, being happily and successfully self-employed, cherishing your time alone. Okay. It's a very obvious message here, but let's see. Okay, so group number 3. As I said, I definitely get the sense that some of you guys might be hyper-independent. So you like to do things on your own. You might be a bit of a rebel in the actual sense of the word, like not conforming to society, making your own rules, really. So maybe when you were in school, you didn't like to follow the rules, you didn't like to do homework, or you didn't like the conventional school system. You might have talked a lot in class, or talked back to the teachers, or anything like that. But that idea of questioning authority, and that's not like a bad thing. I think it's good. I think criticism is good when it's warranted, obviously. But I do think this stems from having to fulfill your own needs as a child. So you have had to learn along the way to look after yourself, and it could be that you don't let anyone else look after you. We have both these queens here, so it's really like you hold yourself accountable for a lot of things, and I think you're independent in more than one way. So I think practically, if I can use an example, if you are a female or you identify as female, it could be that you do like the normal female things like cooking and cleaning and shopping, whatever, but you also do more practical manly things. Sorry for all of the stereotypes here, but like checking your oil in your car and taking it for a service and checking the radiator if there's water, and maybe like climbing on your house's roof to fix something like a tile or whatever. So it's like you do more than what's expected from you. This goes either way. If you're a man, it could be that you are like a single parent and you look after your children all on your own and you don't want help from anyone else. And I do think you guys are very capable, obviously. We have both these court cards, so definitely someone with a strong presence. But I think you guys don't realize how much effort you could spare yourself if you were to accept a helping hand. So I think there's a lot of people in your surroundings that want to help you, but they feel like help won't be welcome because you will just turn them away. Because I think you guys could be a bit stubborn as well. You might see your way as the only way of doing things. If I can use a different example, if you have children, you might not want anyone to babysit them because you're scared that they're going to put on a different TV show that you don't like, or give them food that you don't like to give your kids. Or maybe you don't want your parents watching your kids because you think that they will give the kids certain type of information or ideas that you don't want your kids to have. That's just like one example. So definitely there's some trust issues here as well. It could be that you don't believe that if you tell someone like not to give your kids sweets, that they will actually listen to you. So it could be that someone broke your trust in the past, like multiple times. This could be in a family unit. So maybe you had someone that made a lot of false promises, so you chose to walk your own path in life and only depend on yourself because you felt that if you only depended on yourself, you won't be disappointed in someone else and their false promises. Now, with the 9 of winter here, it does say unfounded fear, focusing on worst case scenarios, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. So you guys are definitely warriors. I think you are causing yourself a lot of anxiety by trying to do everything on your own, maybe even wasting a lot of your time. So if I could use another example, you get a new job and you have to install certain type of computer software, and the company tells you that they have someone that can help you with this if you are struggling. And you don't want to accept any help because what if they do something wrong on your computer? So you say, no, it's fine, I will install the programs by myself. And then maybe you manage to do that, but it takes you like a whole day instead of having like a half an hour or an hour where you work with this person who could have helped you install the files. So this is the type of energy that you guys have. Maybe a different example, you have to get something fixed in your car and you say, no, it's fine, I will do this by myself. So you go to the shop, you buy the parts, you try to install it, but first you have to check a lot of YouTube videos on how to install this thing. Then you install it incorrectly, you have to do it again, maybe you break the part, you have to buy a new part, so now you're spending more money. Anything like that. So it's like you guys are causing yourself more problems by constantly wanting to do things on your own. And as I said here in the beginning, I can relate with this. It's not like critique, but you are really overextending yourself here, and you have to realize that there are people that you can trust, and there are people that are meant to do their job. So there are mechanics for a reason, there are technicians for a reason, there are IT specialists for a reason, and you can make use of these people in your surroundings to help you. You don't actually have to do everything on your own, and you will find that sometimes everything works a lot more smoothly once you start to trust some of these people that want to help you out. Some of you guys could even be self-employed, and maybe this is Spirit coming in with a message here that you might need to get someone to assist you. So For example, if your business is taking off and you are starting to have a lot of admin pile up, it might be time to hire like a PA or something like that. And maybe you have been telling yourself, no, it's fine, I've always done my finances by myself, or I've always done the admin by myself. I don't need anyone, and this person is going to cost me a lot of money. Then Spirit is really saying here, like, yes, maybe that person will cost you some money. You might have to train them in terms of how you always do your books or your admin. But in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of time, and your business is going to run smoother. And you'll find that in the end, you have more time to focus on different things and to generate wealth in that way. And so this person isn't actually going to cost you more money. It's going to make you more money. So really, Spirit is saying that you guys have to look at the bigger picture here. Don't just look at past experiences where people let you down and where they weren't trustworthy. You have to judge each scenario on its own. So obviously, don't be blind to all of the aspects here. Really take everything into account. But don't immediately discount everyone that wants to give you help. And don't just rely on yourself, because no one has all of the skills. No one has all of the knowledge. I think that's something that we all have to remind ourselves of. So it's fine to be a rebel sometimes. But you have to know where to draw the line, because I think it's especially going to be impacting like your financial aspect of your life, because you're creating especially like financial or time problems, wasting your time trying to fix things on your own instead of accepting help. And it's also causing you guys mental problems. So some of you could have like sleepless nights. You see this girl here looking at the moon. You might be constantly worrying about your family and providing them with enough money. Anything like that. And you might even feel very isolated. When I think about royalty, I often think of people that are also very, almost like secluded, even though they're surrounded by people. Because if you were a royal, you're like sitting there on your throne, and we often get the idea of like traitors, people that wants to conspire against the royals. So it's really like it's almost like you are isolating yourself by not wanting to accept help, and therefore also becoming estranged from people. It's like they see you sitting there on your own and not wanting to mingle with the plebs of the normal society. And so there might be an air of I'm better than you surrounding you guys. Even though that is not necessarily the reality. That's the way it's coming across to other people. So they don't actually want to spend time in your company anymore, because it feels like everything that they do is wrong and you are always the one that's right. I hope this makes sense for you guys. Okay, so now I want to look at how you guys can heal this part of yourself. Let's see. Okay, so sorry guys, I just quickly had to charge my camera's battery. So now we're going to look at how you can heal this aspect of yourself. So for that we have 4 tarot cards. So you guys got the 9 of Spring. This is the 9 of Wands. You got the 6 of Summer. This is the 6 of Cups. You have the 10 of Spring, the 10 of Wands. And then you also have the 9 of Winter. This is the 9 of Pentacles. Okay. So we have 2 9s here, and 9s talk about healing, which is quite fitting. And we have been talking here about you guys being focused on yourself a lot, so being very independent. Now, especially with the 9 of Wands, this talks about carrying a burden. So if you can think about where in your life you can shift some priorities towards other people, that is what Spirit is saying here. So maybe create like a list and look at where you have to pour your energy into things, and where you can maybe delegate some of these tasks. So this can maybe talk about like having a caretaker if you have children, or maybe someone can tutor your children in the afternoons, or if this is in terms of your job, this can be, like I said, getting an assistant or just someone that can help you. Sorry for the thunder if you can hear that. We have a storm outside today. Anyway, okay. So with the Six of Cups here, this is like a nostalgic energy, and it can talk about childhood friends or even like family. So in this scenario, it's about community. You guys should reach out to people, maybe even people that have grown up with you, that really understand your way of looking at life, and that people that have the same viewpoint as you. So look at the people that you can trust in your life and ask them for help. And if they are already trying to lend a hand in general, then accept that help from these people. Because with the Ten of Wands here, Spirit is really encouraging you guys to close off this cycle. The Wands can be very emotional energy. It talks about creative energy as well, but especially in this scenario, I'm looking at it like in terms of irritation or frustration. So I think you guys will feel like this burden that you're carrying is lifted off of your shoulders once you find a way to collaborate, is a word that's coming through. So it's about forming partnerships with people and finding a way that you can place your trust in them. So maybe you can start small, like just give them small tasks that have like low risk and then you can build a relationship with whoever it is that's helping you, and then later on you can carry over more of these responsibilities. So maybe some of you guys are single parents that are in like a relationship, a new relationship, and this person wants to help out with some of the responsibilities that you have in your life, but you're also used to doing things on your own. You don't want to give them anything to do. So maybe start small. Have something like a house task. Have them clean the bathroom or prepare dinner like twice a week or anything like that. So just start with one small thing and then it can build into something bigger. And with this Nine of Swords here, again, that feeling of it's really anxiety. It's intense anxiety. So I think, as we mentioned previously, you guys are causing a lot of worry for yourself and a lot of stress for yourself. So Spirit is also saying, look at what is causing you stress in your life. If it's maybe financial burdens, there could be someone that is willing to help you out in that regard, maybe give you like a bit of a loan. So maybe you have some family members that could help you out. And it could just be like a temporary thing. This doesn't have to be something that is long term. So maybe someone helping you out in terms of money just for 1 month would provide you with the stability to maybe level yourself out so you can pour more of your energy into your work, and therefore you will be able to create more money for yourself. So if we look at the self-employment example again, if you get a PA, someone who can assist you, this will cause more wealth in the long term. So maybe there's someone in your family that would just give you like a little bit of a loan. Another example could be something like you want to start a side hustle like a photography business, but you need money to buy a camera and gear. So you can ask some of these people to help you with that, and then as soon as you start making money, you will be able to pay them back, and you will be making a lot more money in general than what you did before you started the side hustle. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Anything in terms of like that type of example. And then also, you know, finding someone to share your burdens with, just in terms of conversation. I think you guys keep a lot of these anxieties to yourself. You don't actually express it to anyone, and maybe you don't feel comfortable expressing the things that you worry about. So I think Spirit is saying just even talking about the things that worry you, and maybe the responsibility that you feel to carry everything on your own. It could be very beneficial to you guys just to have someone to talk to, maybe even like a therapist. And that could be quite difficult for people that are stubborn. You know, actually admitting to yourself and admitting to someone else that you are struggling. And that's really like the first step, that self-awareness, and that is like how you start to take responsibility for your life and for the worries that you have in your life. So Spirit is really saying, like, if you can't delegate some of these tasks, at least find someone who you can vent to and who can listen to your stories, and you will find that that already alleviates some of this anxiety that you're feeling, because it's like they will be able to be like an outlet for you, you know, you can blow off some steam. And even with the wands, I always think of like physical activities as well. So maybe some of you guys would like to consider some physical activity where you can also let go of some of these energies. So like kickboxing or mountain climbing, anything where you get your blood pumping a bit and where you can channel these worries or anxieties into something different. Okay, so now let's see how your life will actually change once you heal this part of yourself. So for that you have 2 oracle cards. The first card is the card The Light and the second card is Potential. Okay, so I think what Spirit is saying for you guys is that you don't realize how much potential your life has to be more enjoyable and to bring you more delight, because you're constantly focusing on the worst case scenario. So and you're constantly protecting yourself, but by doing that you're also warding off good experiences. We had a bit of this in group number 1 as well. So it's really time for you guys to like spread your wings with this bird here and have a bit more freedom. And I also think of birds of a feather, so that idea of community as well. I think you guys should really find some people that you can depend on and that can carry some of this weight and almost give you wings. So you might find that it's a bit of a stormy period for a while as you adjust. This makes me think of the Tower card in tarot. So there might be a lot of emotions that come to the surface, especially if you find someone that you can express your anxieties to. So maybe you will be feeling a bit ashamed, you might cry, you might have like an outburst. But I think this is something that has to come to the surface, you know, like a pimple. I have to think of the word now. You know, that like the pus has to come out. That sounds very gross. But it's really like you are hoarding all of this anxiety within yourself and it's poisoning you from the inside out. So what Spirit is saying that has to come to the surface, and once it does, then you will find a lot more delight in your life. And it's almost like just expressing the anxieties will already cause your life to be more enjoyable. So let's get some more information here just to end off. So how will group number 3's life change? We have the 7 of Cups. We have the 6 of Swords. So really moving into a more positive phase in your life. We have the High Priestess. And we also have the 6 of Wands. So this is great. So this talks about victory, the 6 of Wands. So really Spirit is also already saying, like, I think you guys are already on the right track. You might have a lot of awareness of this. Because the High Priestess is someone who is very intuitive, very wise and insightful. So we have a crystal ball or a mirror on here. So it's like you guys, you can already see what type of future you could have, especially with this Potential card again, and you can see how you could be victorious, but then you have to be willing to move into this new phase in your life. And we do have the infinity symbol on here, so it's like it's gonna have a long-term impact on your life once you heal this aspect of yourself. And you will find that with this 7 of Cups you will have a lot more choices in life, especially like choices in terms of enjoyment. I think of maybe having like more friends to choose from, or more resources in your life to choose from. So maybe once you start collaborating with people, you will have more time to enjoy things like entertainment, so movies or restaurants, or you would have more money to buy gifts for people or anything like that. But it's just like you're gonna have the opportunity to pick and choose, even like pick and choose your battles even. So you'll be able to realize what is something that you actually have to worry about and what is something that you shouldn't be bothered by. Okay, so group number 3, I'm gonna leave your reading here. I really hope it resonated. If it did, you can let me know in the comments down below, and then I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video soon. Bye! Hello and welcome everyone who picked group number 4, and you guys chose this little pyrite cube, and this stone is often used to amplify manifestation. I know people use it to balance their solar chakra, and it can help you with self-confidence as well. So we'll see if this ties in with your reading, and it does have like a gold color, so I think of like the Midas touch, but we'll see. Anyway, so I'm gonna put this aside for now, and today we are asking Spirit, what do you need to heal? So I have a whole bunch of cards here, and as I said in the intro, we are looking at a lot of detail. So first we're going to look at what it is that you need to heal, obviously. Then we'll look at how this is impacting your life. Then we'll see what you can do to heal this part of yourself, and then we'll see how this will positively impact your life once you do heal this. Okay, so let's jump in. To begin, I have an archetype card here to resemble the parts of yourself that you need to work on. And let's see what it is. We have beggar. So the light attributes are confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion and self-esteem. And the shadow attribute is dependence on others to the exclusion for effort, or of effort, sorry. Okay, and we have this girl here like shielding her face with her hands, and there's like a cup of coffee. Maybe that is a sign for you guys. Okay, and then we also have an oracle card to link in with this, and for that you guys got the card stillness. Interesting. Okay, so I already have an idea here, but I first want to see what parts of your life is affected by this aspect of yourself that you need to heal. So for that we have 4 tarot cards from the Fairy Tarot. So first off you have the card the 3 of Spring. This is the 3 of Wands. Plan your next steps. Sorry for the traffic outside, I'm in a different location today. Okay, plan your next steps with an eye to the long term. Have patience, there are more good things to come. Satisfaction from a job well done. Okay, then you also have the 2 of Autumn. This is the 2 of Pentacles, so it's about balance. Bring fun into everything you do, juggling multiple priorities or jobs, and exceptional talent for multitasking. Then we also have the High Priestess, card number 2. 2 might be a sign for you guys. And 2 actually also links in with balance for me. Trusting your intuition, a careful reflection before taking action. Insights that come through meditation. And lastly, we also have the World card, so card number 21, that might be a sign for you. And again, we have a 2 here. And 2 and 1 equals 3, so 3 could also be a significant sign for you guys. So it says, a brilliant success, the freedom to go in any direction, a journey that is now complete. Okay. So what I'm actually seeing in your group is the idea of movement, or rather lack of movement. When we look at the idea of stillness, I think you guys have a tendency to almost wait for things to come your way or not take action by yourself. It's, you know, like a beggar. It's someone usually that doesn't work. So in our country they would often stand at a robot, like a traffic light, and they would just ask for money. And now some of these people do ask for jobs and something like that, but most of them just go around asking for money or for food or something like that. So they expect things to be handed to them. And with stillness, I think you guys have a tendency to almost enter freeze mode. So maybe when you are confronted with maybe like a negative experience, you enter this mode of stillness. It's like you cannot do anything, you know, like a deer caught in headlights. And with the 3 of Spring, this is really about expansion and growth, and like it says here, it's about things that's long term. So I think a lot of you have been holding yourself back due to a lack of confidence, maybe with this pyrite stone, but definitely not making enough moves in life, maybe depending too much on luck or circumstances. If I think about manifestation here, since the stone also connects with that, often you have to take inspired action. So you can wish for a lot of things, but you actually still have to put in work for those things to manifest into your life. So, you know, with this coffee cup as well, it's like you want people to give things to you. With this world card, I mentioned this in a previous reading. It can talk about change, but that idea of what goes up must come down. So I think what Spirit is saying here is you guys are maybe like at the bottom now, you're like down. But for you guys to be able to go up and to have this change, you have to work on this inspired action. Now with the High Priestess, you have all of the knowledge in your possession already. It says trusting your intuition, careful reflection before taking action. So I think you guys often enter an overthinking mode where it's like you want to do the things, you want to take action, but you stay stuck in this phase of weighing up maybe the pros and cons or thinking of all of the routes that you can take. So you are too focused on the possibilities and not focused enough on actually choosing one of those possibilities and making it happen. Because, you know, this card is a very favorable card. It's about brilliant success here. So you're really keeping yourself from that. It's interesting. We also have, it's almost like wheels on here, you know, the wheel turning. With the world card is also often like a wheel. So it's almost like, if you think about the flat tire, that's the image that I get here. It's like your wind is out. You don't have enough force behind you to actually move forward. And we do have snowflakes on here. And you know the saying they talk about people that are snowflakes, it's like they are cowards, or like they don't have enough force or stamina, or they're just like weak. So it may be that some of you guys have a bit of a victim mindset as well. And in psychology, they talk about the freeze response. So maybe that is something that you have. If you deal with conflict, you immediately enter this freeze response and you don't actually do anything. So I do think a lot of you are holding yourselves back. Now, this can be due to a variety of reasons. I did talk about self-confidence here, but it could just be that you haven't actually found something that you're really passionate about. And with this High Priestess, you should be looking towards your intuition and towards what your intuition is guiding you to do. Now, with the beggar, I also think with her hands like in front of her face, it's almost like you're afraid of something. Maybe you're afraid of attention. Maybe you're more like introverted. With the Stillness card, you draw yourself back. You're like in your shell. And it's interesting, we have like the Northern Lights here, and that only comes out at certain times, and you can only see it when you're in like Iceland and that parts of the world. So it's like you really don't showcase yourself. You don't put yourself in positions where you can grow. Maybe you are a bit afraid of uncomfortable positions or change. Now with the Two of Autumn or Two of Pentacles, like I said, this is about balance. So there's some type of imbalance here where you are not giving enough. It's interesting, in part number 3, we talked a lot about hyper-independence and the person overextending themselves. But I think for your group, it's some type of fear here. Now it will resonate differently with everyone, so you have to do some introspection by yourself, Spirit is saying. So do some reflection or meditation to find out what exactly it is. But there's some fear holding you guys back. I even think some of you might have not gotten enough attention during your life, or there was someone that embarrassed you in some way, especially in terms of maybe something that you were passionate about. So for example, maybe as a child you like to sing in the shower, and then your sibling made you feel ashamed about that, and so you stopped singing. And maybe you could have been a great singer, you have a nice voice, but because of that one thing that they said to you, you stopped doing that. So I definitely get the sense that a lot of you have like a sense of shame surrounding your fear, and you draw back into yourself, and that's keeping you from moving forward. And with this High Priestess, again, as I said, you do have the knowledge or the all of the things that you need to move forward, but you have to actually make use of this. So you have to open that book up. You can't just stare at the cover. And I do think it's also like you have to uncover the parts of yourself, again with this girl here and the hands. It's like you have to take back your hands and actually look at the world and actually look at yourself and see your own potential. And it's interesting with this Two of Pentacles, it says bring fun into everything you do. So when I think about that idea of singing again, find the places where you feel like yourself, and even if it makes you a bit afraid to think about doing that in a more open space and showcasing that part of yourself, you do have to follow like your north node or your route in life that gives your soul the potential to thrive and to really turn into who it is that you came here to be in this lifetime. And with this world card, it says the freedom to go in any direction. So it's almost like you guys have a clean slate. You can choose which direction you want to grow into, but you do actually have to choose. That's the problem. You guys are not choosing at the moment. You have to have some type of plan. So maybe you have been drifting along in life, or like I said, it's like this frozen period. It's like you've been feeling stuck. So I think I mentioned this in one of the other groups as well, but you could make use of like lists and start really look at yourself and who you truly are. Do some shadow work in terms of that, and try to see what brings you joy, and try to see where you would actually want to take action. So maybe the fact that you aren't doing enough isn't like that you're lazy or something. It's just that it's not a place where you actually want to invest your energy. So the problem could be that you just have to find a way to refocus yourself and refocus your energy, and then you will see that it flows a lot more naturally. It's like that wheel will start turning on its own then. And I also think about like a hamster, like running on a wheel. As I said here, you guys might focus too much on the possibilities. So it might be that you're too much in your head, and you might need to, like I said, make lists. So constantly thinking about it won't help you as much as actually narrowing it down. So you know, in this book, it's like a lot of small, long written sentences. It's like you have to look at the details as well and really pinpoint what exactly it is that you want to do. What direction do you want to take? So definitely part of what you need to heal is being a bit directionless in life, and not putting in enough action where you need to focus your energy. So now I want to see how you can heal this part of yourself. So let's see for that. Okay, now we have 4 tarot cards to represent this part of the reading, and this is from the Harmony Nice Tarot. This tarot deck is specifically about healing. So let's see, you guys have the 8 of Autumn. This is the 8 of Swords, yes. We have the 7 of Winter. This is the 7 of Pentacles. We have the Well, and we also have the 6 of Spring. This is the 6 of Wands. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the Well here. Interesting, we have like I think it's a robin or a crow, but I think of intuition and that High Priestess that we have. And the Well really talks about self-destructive behavior, or it's like you're in this deep dark hole. Sounds very depressing, but you have to either gather the strength to climb out of the hole, or you're gonna stay stuck there. So this frozen period that you have, or this tendency to draw yourself back into your shell, that is something that you're doing to yourself. And Spirit is saying that you can get yourself out of that well, but it's going to take a lot of courage, and it's going to take a lot of strength, and it's going to require you to use your intuition and to use that as a guide. I don't know if you guys know about that philosophy or whatever. It talks about the language of birds, and the idea surrounding it is that there's like all of the symbolism in life, and it's really just talking about how spirit is guiding you in life and how nature is constantly in contact with each other. So I think you guys might be feeling a bit out of touch with your surroundings. So linking with that stillness card, maybe you need to spend some more time meditating, because that might balance out your overthinking tendencies, and it could help you to actually focus on the right things in life and actually taking action based on what is revealed to you in meditation. Because when I think about the well as well, you know, it's dark in there. You like dive into the depths of earth. So maybe you have to go down into your unconscious a bit and really see where you are holding yourself back. And with the well, I do also think about, you know, often in fairy tales or fables, there's someone that rescue someone out of a well. So it could be that you have been waiting for someone to rescue you. You know, we had the beggar card here, and I did talk about having like a victim mentality. So I think Spirit is saying that you guys have to realize that you should be the one to rescue yourself. You're not like this damsel in distress that's waiting for a knight in shining armor. It's your responsibility to get yourself out of there. Now, this does not mean that you can't use help from someone externally. You know, if you think about someone throwing in a rope, you guys shouldn't be throwing in the ropes, but you could accept help from someone to get you out of this dark place. So maybe like a therapist or a friend, or just someone that can help you direct your energy in the right way. Now, we do have the Eight of Swords here, and this really talks about self-imprisonment as well. So Spirit is really saying you have to take a very honest look at how you are holding yourself back and how you are restricting yourself, and especially how you're not taking action in certain parts of your life. So maybe you are very self-aware. You're like, yes, I know I have a tendency to not meet deadlines and my work just piles up. And you can keep on complaining about that, but you actually have to do something. So examples of this would be like making reminders on your phone, or making lists of everything that you have to do and arranging it by priority. Or it could be having a friend that is like your support system or your buddy. They keep you accountable. They check in with you constantly. How far are you with this? Or have you met this deadline? Or did you do this yet? Anything like that. Or like a different example, maybe I read about this, like if you want to remember to take your medication for something, you should give your cat like a treat at the same time that you have to take your medication, because the cat will remember. So that's also like the buddy system. So anything like that where you can hold yourself accountable for taking action, that would have a huge benefit in your life. And now with the Seven of Pentacles, the Seven of Winter here, I really think you guys have to plant the seeds. This card talks about really putting in the work for something to blossom in the future. So Spirit is saying that you should be planting the seeds now for a better future. And with this web here, it's like a spider web. Again, I think about being caught up in something. So it's really like you're in this web, maybe like a web of lies, lies that you tell yourself. So find where you're not putting in enough effort. I also think about the Devil card and the normal tarot. So definitely there's some type of maybe even addiction here, or just like some pattern that you are in. But definitely somewhere in your life you are not looking at yourself clearly and looking at your actions clearly, and that is something that you have to remedy if you want to heal this part of yourself and if you want to start taking more action in your life. Now with the Six of Wands here, this does talk about like victory. So Spirit is just encouraging you guys and saying that you will be able to do this. You know, you will be able to succeed in getting yourself out of this well, but you do first have to be honest with yourself and have to look at how you are not taking action, and especially how you are still stuck in this victim mindset. So it's not like something that is hopeless, but definitely it seems like it's like a big web, a big web of lies. So it might take a lot of work, and as I said here with the well, it's about gathering all of your strengths and courage, and maybe even asking for help. But ultimately, Spirit is saying you can be successful in this. So let's see then how your life will positively change once you heal this part of yourself. So for that, you got 2 oracle cards. You have the card Wisdom, and you also have the card Adventures. Okay, so that's nice energy. So definitely with this Adventures card, I'm getting that idea of action again. So maybe you guys haven't been feeling like very, like a lot of passion for life in general. And I think you will find that this starts to change as soon as you start taking action in different parts of your life. So this can even talk about maybe not doing enough physically to keep yourself in shape. So when I think about this Wisdom card as well, it's really about starting to apply the wisdom that you have. We did have the High Priestess. So as I said, you guys have the knowledge. It's just that you have to start applying it. So another example that's coming through is that maybe you are someone that overeats or doesn't exercise at all. You're like a bit lazy. Now obviously this won't resonate with everyone, but you know that you have to have like a better schedule, or that your stressful job is impacting your life. You know all of these things. But when you heal this part of yourself and you start to become more self-aware, you will be able to apply the wisdom that you already have. So you will be able to use like all of your information about fitness or like exercise routines, or like a certain type of diet or whatever, and you will be able to use that to advance yourself, to take action, to transform into someone that is someone with passion for life. And maybe this will give you the ability to do more things. So if you were very overweight and you slim down a lot, you might be able to move around more freely, or you might be able to travel suddenly. Or another example, you are very socially anxious due to something. We talked about fear. So you use a lot of tactics to help you calm your anxiety. So you start to meditate more, you go on walks more, you start to journal every morning, anything like that. And then suddenly you see, okay, you're calmer in social situations. So now you can travel the world, or you can go out socializing with friends more, anything like that. So it's like your world will crack open and you will be able to experience a lot more, because you're not keeping yourself stuck. Like we said, you might be in your shell a lot, or like in that well. So it's like you will be able to go out into the world more and have more experiences, and thereby also get more wisdom. It could be that your life at the moment is quite boring because you're not experiencing enough, you're not doing enough, and in return you're not receiving enough. So let's see. We have 4 last tarot cards to give us more information about how your life will change. So you got the 6 of Cups again. Is it again? I can't remember. Maybe it was in a different reading. We also have the 4 of Cups. We have the Devil. And we have the Judgment. Okay. So I think with this Wisdom card and the Judgment and the Devil, you will be able to have a different outlook on life and on yourself. So in the future, you would be able to make better decisions in terms of your actions or your lack of actions. And it's like you won't be stuck in this devil energy anymore. It's like you freed yourself from your addictions. So, and with this Judgment, it's like this is intuition with this big I here. And I don't think it talks about judging yourself. It's having compassion for past versions, but being able to make choices differently now. So learning from the mistakes in the past. So if I can use an example again, you were like invited to a party and you were stressed about what you'll wear and who will be there and anything like that. But now you're invited to a party again, and since you learned from your mistakes, you're able to call the person that is hosting the party and you find out what is the dress code, and you ask one of your friends to arrive with you so you won't be so anxious, and you find out about some of the other guests that will be there, and you talk to your friends about these people so that you know more about them and that you will be able to converse with them easily. So it's just anything like that. It will resonate differently with you guys, but you will be better prepared for life and will be able to take action much easier. Now with the Six of Cups, this is also like community and family. So I think you will also find yourself being able to take action better in your relationship. So maybe you didn't always reciprocate so well with people in your life, and you will find that once you work on yourself and you look at where you weren't taking enough action in relationships as well, these relationships maybe from your past will be able to blossom again. So there might be like a rebirth. If I can use another example, a lot of people with social anxiety often don't respond to messages and they just like ghost people. So if you are able to realize that this is something that you do and it's a reason why people stop communicating with you and that's why you lose friends, then you can acknowledge that about yourself and you can work on that. So maybe someone sends you a message and you're too anxious to reply in that moment, but you set a reminder on your phone to reply in like 2 hours, so you have time to think about it. But then your reminder goes off and you reply to that person, and so therefore that bond isn't broken with that person because you're able to sustain it. So I think your relationships will also improve in this new phase in your life. Now with the Four of Cups, this can talk about not seeing what's right in front of you. So I do think you will also be able to see where you should apply more energy, but also what situations you should let go of. So Four of Cups doesn't necessarily have to mean like not taking opportunities. It can also be that you are like deciding about the different parts of your life and where you want to invest your energy. So instead of maybe in the past not taking action in any area of your life because you're feeling overwhelmed, you can prioritize where you want to pour your energy into. So for example, your work could be quite busy and your friend has a birthday and you have to walk your dog and you have to go shopping or whatever. So you might be able to tell your friend that work is very busy, and then they say, okay, well, I'll save you time, I'll come pick you up from your home so you don't have to do that. Or they say, okay, no, it's fine, I'll walk your dog for you, you can go shopping. Or I'll do your groceries for you and I'll walk your dog, you can focus on your work and then you can also come to the party. So I think it's just that in this new phase you will be able to make much clearer decisions, much more balanced decisions, and you won't be caught up in that idea of overthinking, and you won't be a victim of circumstances because you will be able to take control of it better. Okay, group number 4, I hope that made sense for you guys, and I think I'm gonna leave your reading there. If it resonated, you can let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear your stories. And then if you want to support me and my channel, you can subscribe and give this video a like. And then I hope you guys have a lovely day. I will see you in the next one soon. Bye.